Welcome to Probing the Potential in Africa, the Business and Investment Climate. My name is Lori Elliott, and I'm with Afribiz, which is a division of BizConcierge. This actually comes from our seminar called Setting a Path for Success in Africa in Business, Investment, and Life. Please enjoy. Now let's begin. Many of the African investment promotion agencies have websites that provide much of what you need to understand about the business and investment climate. When you're interacting with them, you want to pose questions that are going to help you understand, both from a breadth perspective and a depth perspective, what the business and investment climate like is in the country. Let me just say one thing, that when we talk about government agencies, they are not in the business to do business. Business is in the business to do business. However, they can help create an enabling environment. So essentially with the IPAs, they are helping to create an enabling environment so that business can be done. Now, first question. What protection, rights, incentives, penalties, and responsibilities apply to foreign investors and/or businesses? And most of us who are in the West often don't think of this until we're actually in the situation. But we're very used to having structures and things in place, and we're used to things being done a certain way in our own country. It's very important to understand that before we get into business, what are the things that we have to deal with, whether they be very positive things or whether there be constraints. The next question is, what are the priority sectors for the country? When I talk about sectors, I mean things like telecommunications, mining, organic food, manufacturing, whatever else. Because essentially what happens is wherever a country figures their priorities are, they end up putting more resources into it. So that means that it actually helps you with your business if you focus on one of the priority sectors. In essence, they tend to, you draw attention to what you're doing because you are focusing on something that's important to them. So in essence, you get mutual benefit. Next question. What is the process, procedures, and costs associated with starting, maintaining, and closing a business in the country? And I think for most of us, we understand what that is. In any country, there are costs, there's procedures, there's time that's involved. The IPAs can help you with that information. Also, I'll mention a site a little bit later that gives you some of that information, but again, it's from an external perspective instead of an in-country perspective. Where are the leading governmental and economic hubs located in the country? This is one of my personal favorites. It is much easier to do business in a place that is central. So when you are initially going to a country, you can choose to go anywhere you please. But in general, it can often be easier for you to get things done administratively if you're located in a central location like in the capital city or the economic hub. And also in addition to that, you tend to have more resources and access to things that you're used to in high density places. What major projects are occurring or planned in the country? Again, this is very similar to the concept of having the priority sectors. What things are already going on? If you can tap into those projects that are already going on at some level, again, it helps you and gets you started faster than if you're starting from ground zero. For example, I spent several years, and for me, there was a lot of purpose behind it. I spent 2 or 3 years trying to focus on an area that was very important, and I knew it would make a significant difference in the country, and also was a for-profit business. But it took me a long time to sell it to people, and it's only now that they're actually grabbing a hold of it because the time has come for the idea. So now it's easy to talk to people about it, but it took me 2 or 3 years to convince them that it was the way to go. So what I'm saying is, in my case, I would still have done it because that's really where my focus was and that's how it needed to work. But in other cases,